Hi guys and welcome, my name is Jude and today I am here to do a review of It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover. Let me start off by making a disclaimer. I did not like this book. I am not going to give it a positive review. My mind is not gonna change throughout the course of this video. So if you don't like if you loved it or something and you're very passionate about it, just know that I'm gonna trash it in this video. So there's no point maybe in you watching unless you actually want to know my opinion. But yeah, let's settle that. Because I've received quite a fair amount of backlash from Colleen Hoover fans. That's very fair, you know, they're passionate fans. And I used to like her before, but this is not the case. I'm not gonna say any nice things about it, so if you don't want to hear that, then yeah, this video might not be the one for you. That being settled, let's get right on to my thoughts. I'm gonna start by reading you the summary. Sometimes the one who loves you is the one who hurts you the most. Lily hasn't always had it easy, but that's never stopped her from working hard for the life she wants. She's come a long way from the small town in Maine where she grew up. She graduated from college, moved to Boston, and started her own business. So when she feels a spark with a gorgeous neurosurgeon called Ryle Kincaid. So when she feels a spark with a gorgeous neurosurgeon called Ryle Kincaid, everything in Lily's life suddenly seems almost too good to be true. Ryle is assertive, stubborn, and maybe even a little arrogant. He is also sensitive, brilliant, and has a total soft spot for Lily, but Ryle's complete aversion to relationships is disturbing. As questions about her new relationship overwhelm her, so do thoughts of Atlas Corrigan, her first love and a link to the past she left behind. He was her kindred spirit, her protector. When Atlas suddenly reappears, everything Lily has built with Ryle is threatened. It Ends With Us is an unforgettable tale of love that comes at the ultimate price. That's a very, very, very misleading summary. I won't talk spoilers yet. I will warn you when we get into that. But if you haven't read the book and you hear the summary, you get that there's a guy called Ryle, something called. Lily's into him, but he's sort of like effy on commitment. And then this girl called Atlas, a romance from her past, comes into the picture, and things start to get a bit like, you know, tension, and that's the plot, and that's it. That's not what the story is about. The story is not about that at all. Actually, Atlas, the guy from her past, is such an inconsequential character that I honestly feel like he could have been skipped throughout the whole novel. The more I think about him as a character, I'm just like, no, he was so unnecessary. He's just there for drama and a necessary plot point and to mislead in the summary. If you actually want to read this book and don't want to know any further of what the summary says, then this is the point where you stop watching this video. But if you actually want to know what the story is about, no spoilers, but what the story actually is, then keep on watching. It Ends With Us is not the story of conflicting love interests between the past and the present. It's the story of abuse in relationships. If I had to wrap up the whole summary of this book, I would just say Lily faces an abusive relationship. Shit happens. She tries to deal with it. Stay tuned for the ending. That's what I would say more or less. They don't put it in the summary. They don't put that it's an abusive relationship story because it's sort of like the twist drama element, but I don't think it is. Well, the story wants to handle it that way. You know, they're like, oh, plot twist, it's an abusive relationship. But I do not think that abuse should ever be used as a plot twist. It's a sort of like just driver for the plot. No. And this is where my main issue with the story is, you know, abuse is not a plot tool. It's not a tool to advance a plot. That's the point. Abuse in relationships is a very, very, very serious matter, and I feel like it ends with us. It's seen as anything but. Now, it is important for me to say that at the end of this book, there's a very long note from Colleen Hoover in which she says that she has firsthand seen the effects of abuse in relationships from her own mother. That this story is actually shaped more or less like her mother's story. So what she saw and what she experienced as a child, what she saw her mother go through, it's what she took as a base to write this novel around. So as unrealistic as this novel may seem, as many points of conflicts that I may have, a point that keeps coming up is like, well, the author went through it. This did happen. Happy endings in abusive relationships do occur. Because if you've read anything by Colleen Hoover before, you will know that all of her stories have a happy ending, and this one is not the exception. And everyone, absolutely everyone in It Ends With Us has a happy ending. That means every single character, including the abuser. So I just keep hearing people that like the book telling me that it's like, well, it happened to the author, so it's her story, it's very valid, if it happened, it happens. There's no reason why it shouldn't be in a book. And I get it, it's completely respectable, and yes, totally valid that this happened to Colleen Hoover, that this happy ending in the midst of all the chaos occurred. And that's very, very lucky of her. But that's what it is. It's luck. If you've been following me around for a while, you will know that I am a big feminist and am deeply invested with these kinds of subjects. I've had first-hand experience with very emotionally abusive relationships. I cannot imagine how draining and exhausting it must be to be in a physically abusive relationship. I can't even. But if my experience wasn't easy at all, I can't imagine what other women are going through and how hard it must be for them. And when I see books for this where abuse is used as the main driving point for the plot, and where you see big happy dopey endings for everyone, it just sits wrong with me. It sits very, very wrong with me. And then it begs the question, does the author have any responsibility in what she publishes out into the world? If you're making a story about suicide and it ends very, very, very sad and very, very, very poorly, is it the author's responsibility to make it a happy ending for the enjoyment of others? Can you not write sad stories because it will upset others? Can you not write weak characters because every single character has to be perfect and strong? And that's a whole other debate that I am not ready to discuss in this video because I haven't given it much thought. I don't know how much responsibility do authors have when they publish things out there into the world? Do every single story needs to be wrapped up perfectly to set an example? Is it the author's job to set an example? These are questions for which I do not have the answer for. And when it comes to this novel, I questioned a lot. Does the author have a responsibility to make this the best story it can be and an example to follow for people that are dealing with abuse? And I think the answer is no. I mean, you can't really model your characters perfectly to inspire others because that's not Colleen Hoover's job. But when I see a novel in which abuse almost seems romantic and it leads to this beautiful happy ending for everyone, it just, no. As I said, it sits wrong with me. And that's my personal opinion, and I am judging it by that. So I did not like the story. I would never recommend it. I don't think abuse is something that ever rubs up in this like beautiful dovey thing. And I say it again, if a situation like this one actually happened to Colleen Hoover, that's very, very lucky and very, very fortunate. Because 3 women a day are murdered in the USA alone due to domestic violence. Women who dare and leave the abuser are 70 times more likely to be murdered. And let's not talk about pregnancy, because the leading cause of injury-related deaths for women that are pregnant is at the hands of their partners, of their abusive partners. Abuse is rarely an incident that shapes things for the better and wraps up in a happy ending. It's very much one of the leading causes of the death of women, and these are real women, and I can't stand behind the story that plays it or paints it as something nice. I know it's fiction, I know it's there for entertainment purposes, I know the author has zero obligations to portray what is a very real story. I still can't back it up. I never saw the romance that was unfolding underneath. I never felt the cute moments, I never felt the sappiness. I just felt wrong as I was reading it. I was just like, no. And I didn't like it, and I would not recommend it in a million years. The sad part is that I do appreciate the efforts from the author. There's this beautiful, beautiful part near the end of the book where she's talking about abuse. Lily is talking about abuse. And it's not a spoiler, but she's talking about how it can be a cycle, and you just stay in this sort of cycle, and you need to break that in order to be free from your past and move forward with your present. And she says, this ends with us. And it's a very, very beautiful line. It's such a beautiful line, such a beautiful meaning, that I would totally get that tattooed. I'm not even kidding. But I just felt that that big and beautiful line, that piece of wisdom that Colleen Hoover shares throughout the novel, just doesn't go through because of all the other bullshit that's in that book. because of how poorly abuse in relationships is handled. If you would like to read a book within these subjects that I think is done very beautifully, very subtly, and accessible to all ages, I would definitely recommend Stay by Deb Caletti. It's a young adult novel that deals with abuse, and it's done very great. I've read it multiple times, and I think that it does a very good job at touching a very, very delicate subject without romanticizing abuse and giving you an entertaining story as well. So I will link this book down below. And as for Colleen Hoover, this is the 4th novel that I read from her that I don't like, and I'm very, very sad to say that I will not continue to read any books by her. And it's not so much because I'm so appalled by this book, it's because I just haven't liked her novels lately. There's no point in me continuing when it just doesn't seem to be improving my relationship with the author, which is very sad because Hopeless, a novel by her, is one of my favorites of all time, and I thought that it dealt with very, very, very serious matters of also abuse and violence, and she did it so subtly without drama, beautifully, and it also seemed healing for me as a victim of abuse as well. Whereas this book doesn't seem healing at all, it just seems offensive. I'm actually going to reread Hopeless and see if it's just that I changed and I no longer have tolerance for this kind of thing, or if it's just that I actually do think that Colleen Hoover's writing has changed. It may be actually a mix of both, but we'll see. And that's really all I have to say. I have just one tiny comment that's spoilery, so I'm just gonna wrap this up and then say it. But thank you so much for watching. If you're watching, do let me know your comments and the thoughts down below. Your thoughts in the comment section down below. If you liked it, why did you like it? If you didn't like it, why didn't you like it? Do you agree? Do you not? I'm jumping into a spoilery comment, and well, yes, thank you for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. If you're still here, it means you read it, and that's just to say Atlas was such a useless character. Truly though, the more you think about it, I'm just like, he didn't have any reason to be there at all. I honestly think that the novel would have wrapped up even nicer had she just like ended things completely with Ryle? It's Ryle or Kyle? Ryle. Had she ended up things completely with Ryle and just moved on with her life as a strong, single lady with her baby. And oh my god, the whole just keep swimming thing and writing diary pages to Ellen DeGeneres was so stupid. Like, I don't want to sound like an asshole here, but it was so dumb. It was so stupid. Like, it's a cute metaphor in the movie, but when you actually translate it into like book, and the more I read it and I read it out loud and I told other people, I was like, this is so dumb. This is so dumb. And at the end, when she's like, the baby's middle name is Dory, it's Dory, right? I was like, oh my god, this is so dumb. And it's fine. You can hate me for thinking that. I still think it's really stupid. And I think that's it now. Those are all my thoughts. That's really all I have to say about this book. No. And if you stayed this long and you're not writing a huge paragraph of hate in the comment section, then why, thank you for watching. I love you. And I will see you in the next video. Bye.